Welcome to DIYeasycrafts.com. Today we're going to take a look at building a custom fishing rod. Now this is the first of a series of short tutorial videos that will cover the entire build of this patriotic themed spinning rod. But on today's video, we're just going to cover the handle assembly or fitting and assembly. So I got the components for this build from Mudwater, and in today's video we're going to cover fitting and installing the rear grip, the reel seat, the foregrip, the winding check, and the butt cap. Now it starts with these, I have foam grips, these are EVA, but same process for cork. You want to do what's called a roadmap. You want to measure out where each component is going to fit on your rod blank. I'm just using a little China marker. Doesn't have to be super accurate. This is just going to let you know where to put the glue for each component. The next step, we're going to have to fit that rear grip. So I'm going to measure the diameter at the base of the blank, and I'm going to also, just for comparison's sake, measure the inside diameter of that rear grip. You can see how much material we have to remove. You're going to want to remove this material with a reamer. These reamers also were from Mudwater. These reamers are tapered, so you want to do the reaming from the back end or the butt end of the grip so that the taper is in the same direction as the taper on the actual fishing rod. You can do this by hand, or you can use a electric drill. Much easier with the electric drill. You want to go easy on it. You want to remove as little as possible, and you want to fit it quite frequently to make sure that you're not removing too much material. You want this rear grip to come within about 4 inches or so of its final destination. So if the one reaming didn't do it, I'm going to move up a size, give it a little bit extra reaming. I'm really just for demonstration purposes showing that you actually can do it by hand. And now this is a snug fit down to about 4 inches from where it's going to finally rest. So I can glue up that rod blank when I'm ready to install that rear grip. I'm going to remount the foregrip now. This has even a smaller hole. I measured the diameter of the blank where it has to end up being, and with the smaller reamer that came in the set, I'm going to start to open up that inside diameter. Again, the trick here is constant fitting. You want to go back and forth to that rod blank and just bring it right into size. Same as with the rear grip, you want to stay 3-4 inches away from its final destination. So it's a nice snug fit. Well, I'm going to use a pro paste. Now this is a 2-part epoxy, equal parts. You want to mix them very well. I've not built fishing rods before. This is new to me, but I've done a lot of resin, fiberglass resin and epoxy work. Whenever I'm working with epoxy, I wear 2 pairs of gloves. Whenever I get any glue onto a glove, I can just remove the outer glove and continue with my work. So now that rod blank is glued up, I'm going to press that rear grip down all the way until it bottoms out. Got to go all the way down to the butt end of the blank. So it's actually flush with the blank. Now the butt cap just gets glued into place. Any excess glue that squeezes out, you can clean it up very easily. You can just use a paper towel, take away as much of the glue as possible, and then with a dampened paper towel or rag with rubbing alcohol, you can remove any of the glue that remains. So now we've got the rear grip and the butt cap. Now we're going to install the reel seat. Now the reel seat has a larger inside diameter than the rod blank. So we don't have to remove any material. We actually have to build it up a little bit. And that's called making an arbor. And I'm doing this just with masking tape. I'm going to roll some masking tape onto the rod blank, 3 different locations. And you want to make this slightly oversized so that you can't get the reel seat in place. And then you're going to want to remove a little bit of that tape at a time until it's just a real firm, close fit. So you can just barely get that reel seat on. Doesn't take long. Now, as you can imagine, masking tape, you wouldn't think that that's going to hold up, to salt water environment, but we're going to completely encapsulate that in resin. So when we glue up the reel seat, you want to use a lot of glue. You want to fill in the void between each one of those masking tape arbors, as well as completely coat the top of each one of those masking tape arbors, so that each arbor is completely encapsulated and all of the voids are filled. Then I'm going to press that reel seat into position. Once again, I'm going to clean up whatever glue squeezed out. Notice that I've protected the front and the back of that reel seat with some masking tape. It's especially important to protect the threads on that reel seat. So I can remove the masking tape that protected the back end of the reel seat. I'm going to leave the masking tape on the front until we put the foregrip in place. This way, any glue that squeezes out from the foregrip is not going to, get onto that reel seat threads. So the foregrip is very easy. Same process. Going to glue up the blank. Make sure that every little area is covered with glue. No dry spots. Just going to push that foregrip. It's a nice tight fit. Clean up the glue that squeezed out. Not only with a paper towel, but then also with a paper towel soaked with the rubbing alcohol. And then I'll remove the masking tape, exposing the threads on the front edge of that reel seat. Then there's one more step, and this is kind of like the molding or the finishing. This is called a winding check. It's just almost like a finishing washer. Put it on with a little bit of glue. Do your standard cleanup afterwards. And this is going to cover up any little space that you have in that foregrip, any gap that you would have. It's going to make it look like a finished product. Now, before I continue with the guides or the custom label, etc., I'm going to let this sit and dry overnight. Final inspection before I walk away. You want to make sure that there's no glue, on any part of the handle assembly. You see one spot right here, and I'll just clean that up with a little rubbing alcohol. It'll be good as new. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please subscribe and check us out on the internet, which is DIYeasycrafts.com. Be sure to check out our future videos where I'm going to cover winding the guides on, putting the label on, and finishing off this spinning rod build. Thank you very much for watching.